Well, good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome back to the Wellness Homesteader. I've been away for about a week. I decided to take a week off for my 60th birthday, and to all of you who wished me happy birthday wishes, thank you so much. It was truly delightful, one of the best birthdays that I've had to date. So today we are going to start making a really neat soap that's very practical. So we are going to make what I call Dad's coffee soap. So my father was a lover of coffee, I think more so even than I, which is saying something. And he used to say it was his lifeblood. So as I've shared before, my dad passed away 10 years ago, and I'm fogging up my glasses. It's warm here today. It's actually Sunday here. But at any rate, in his memory and honor, I created some Dad's coffee soap. So all the disclaimers, y'all know I give all the disclaimers. I am going to share the recipe. I make no guarantees about this recipe. Do your own research. Run it through your own lie calculator. Make sure you agree that this recipe is safe and effective. So that's out of the way. What I can tell you and why I made coffee soap is coffee is an amazing ingredient to take food odors off your hands. So if you're making like onion broth, sweet onion jam, where you're handling lots and lots and lots of onions or garlic, and you know, every time you get your hand near your nose, you're like, pooh, it really smells bad. This soap takes the smell off like snap. So it has some different ingredients. I'm not going to put the recipe in the description box, so you're going to want to take notes for this. The reason I'm not is because I just think it's a liability issue for me to actually put it into print. So here we go. So the first thing I've done here is I have measured out my lye. You've all seen me do it before. So I have here 4.4 ounces of lye. So the next thing we're going to do is, instead of using distilled water, goat's milk, or some other liquid for our soap, we are going to use coffee. Now, I may have to pause you for a moment because my cup runneth over, but what you want is like a double strong coffee. So what I made, for those of you who are coffee lovers, is a black eye. So if you know what a black eye is, you know, hit me up in the comments below. But basically, a black eye is a cup of coffee with a shot of espresso. So let me grab this, and we will see. Oh, almost hate to put it in the soap, right? So we are looking for 11.2 ounces. Oh yeah, we're gonna need another cup. And we're gonna have some leftover, which it's like, yes, I can have some more coffee. I probably drink too much coffee, but I do love me some coffee. So I am using my Jura coffee maker back here. So it has a filter. It's a pretty high-tech machine. I will leave a link to it in the description box below. It's a wonderful machine. If you are a coffee lover, or if you're spending money going to coffee shops to get special drinks like macchiatos or flat whites or espresso, this is the machine for you. So I'm just going to let this second cup here brew really quick. I have it set to brew 5 ounces at a time, so we might have like an ounce left over. All right. Okay, we got a little over, and I am not going to pour that back into the cup to drink because there has been lye in this pitcher prior, so I only use soap things for soap. Okay, so there's our 11.2 ounces. And now, this is fairly hot, so to prevent it from having a boil over type heat reaction when I add the lye, I'm actually going to pop this in the freezer for a few moments, and then I will bring you back to show you next steps. So stay tuned. All right, well, we've given our coffee some time to chill out in the freezer. We are at about 115 degrees, so I thought I would bring you over here since I always say, I know you can't see me, and just show you what kind of reaction you get. Hang on, I need to turn on my ceiling fan. So because we're already very hot, this is going to go well over 200 degrees, so I highly recommend good ventilation. Add it very slowly. Always add lye to liquid. Remember, snow on the mountain. So I'm just putting a little in, stirring, and of course, very important to have gloves. And I don't know if y'all could hear that. It just did a little boil. Now, before you panic, I will share with you, this smells kind of funky. Definitely loses at this stage its coffee smell and will smell quite stinky. So I'm going to be quiet for just a minute and see if we get another boil reaction. So let me... I actually have a little bit of lye in this thing, but just a few grains, so we should be good. So this is what your mixture will look like. It kind of has a coffee with cream look almost to it once you've added that to it. So let me, I'll scoot you back a little bit here. Just show you. We are at about 212 degrees. Well, yeah. Okay, come on, Kim. 215 degrees. There we go. So I'm going to need to put this into the freezer. So I'm going to just step away from the camera, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you my oils and talk about what you would use to go with your lye. Okay. So here we have our oil mixture, which I have already melted. And this is going to come to temperature much, much quicker than that lye, even in the freezer. So we may have to pop it in the microwave to even up temperatures. But I decided for simplicity's sake, so the video wouldn't be like forever long, I would go ahead and measure and melt my oils and then tell you what I'm putting in it. So this is what it looks like. Hang tight just a moment and I will come back and share with you the recipe of oils. Since our lye is in the freezer, I thought I would go ahead and pop off my safety glasses. And actually, I did want to mention, when you buy safety glasses, you do want them to come around close to your cheek and around the side as well. I know these aren't like a fashion statement. These were my son's from high school, and he's 36. Never throw anything away. But actually, they work very, very well. So, what type of oils go into this soap? There is 10.2 ounces of olive oil, 8.5 ounces of palm oil, 8.5 ounces of canola oil, so like regular cooking canola oil. And then you want a total of 6.8 ounces together, half of which is coffee butter, and the other half of which is coconut oil. So, what on earth is coffee butter? I thought the same thing. So, I've used the end of my jar here. So this is Crafter's Choice is the brand. It comes from Wholesale Supplies Plus. And I'm like, wonder what this is for. So it's body safe. It's for making soaps, lotions, and cosmetics. And what it is coffee, Arabica seed oil, and hydrogenated vegetable oil. So it's like Crisco with coffee oil in it. So it smells so good. It smells so good. But this is part of what is going to impart a delicious coffee smell. It's not really going to be the whole solution to removing those smells from your hands. So what else goes in there? So these are used coffee grounds, untouched by human hands. Actually, the Jura dumps them out into a little cup, and then I just dumped it into here. So yeah, it's not like they've been handled with hands. And then you're going to need 3 ounces of Espresso Fragrance Oil. So in this case, I am using, again, Crafter's Choice Espresso Oil. And this comes also from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It smells amazing. I like coffee so much, I could shower with this soap. But I don't want people to be like, you smell coffee? Yeah, so most soaps smell good when you use them, but don't leave a heavy scent on your skin. So I've never showered with it, but I want to tell you it is so effective for getting that smell off your hand. And then for choice of mold, for me, what I like is a cube mold. Now, this is silicone. What I can tell you about the mold is it makes the cutest little soaps that are just perfectly hand-shaped, or hand-sized, excuse me. However, it's a little tricky to get it out. So when I'm using a deep mold for a cube, a couple tips for you. I always use my salt solution, which I added into the lye off camera. That hardens the soap. I will leave this 3 or 4 days before I even try to remove it. Even though most recipes will tell you 24 to 48 hours, it should be hard enough to remove. These molds are a little bit tricky, and this is a stiff silicone, so you can't just pop it out. They don't turn inside out. The other trick that I've used with great success is to put the entire mold into my deep freezer, because it won't fit in my regular freezer. I have too much stuff in there. And just let it get pretty doggone good and frozen, and it will release so much easier. You can buy soap release spray. I have never used it, so I can't speak to it. I think they need to invent a mold that's a coffee bean. I think that would be like awesome, but I've never been able to find one. So I'm going to just go through the recipe one last time, if you're writing down or if you missed it. And it is 10.2 ounces of olive oil, 6.8 ounces total of a mixture of coffee butter and coconut oil, 8.5 ounces of palm oil, 8.5 ounces of canola oil, 4.4 ounces of lye, 11.2 ounces of double strength coffee made with filtered or distilled water, 3 ounces of espresso oil, 2 tablespoons of coffee grounds, and then I use 2 teaspoons of the salt solution. So I'm going to pause you here for just a moment. I am going to wait for them to come to temperature. We will make and pour soap, and then at the end of the video, hang around a little bit, because I have some really exciting updates, because I didn't just celebrate the whole week I was off. So stay tuned. All right, well, we've come to temperature here between our oils and our lye mixture, within 20 degrees of each other. And again, just a reminder, do not freak out about the smell of the lye and think that your soap is going to smell that way, because it won't. It's just a peculiar odor when lye mixes with coffee. So I thought I'd bring you a little closer here so that you could see the actual process. So what I do is I sit my dollar store bowl down in the hole of my garbage disposal. The next thing I'm going to do is put my stick blender in. Get the spatula out. I put it straight down, and then listen closely. I burp it. So I'm going to let all of the air out. Next, I'm going to take my lye mixture, and just to lower the risk of splashing, I'm going to pour it down the shaft of the stick blender, holding the spout really close to the actual stick blender shaft. All right, and I always neutralize the lye as quickly as possible by putting it in some water. and then setting that aside for careful washing. All right, now this is going to be noisy, but we're going to start blending this, and then we will be adding our coffee grounds and our 3 ounces of espresso oil. So bear with the noise, but hopefully you'll be able to see well how the soap changes from this odd looking liquid. So the color has changed. It now looks like coffee with a little bit of cream. It only lightly coats the stick blender, not very heavily. So I'm going to go ahead and add our 3 ounces of espresso oil and our 2 tablespoons of coffee grounds that have been used, and I'm going to just blend, and I want to show you a little bit about what is called trace. Now, you can see that this is still very thin. So as it's dripping onto the soap, I feel it's getting thicker, but it's not leaving drops that stand on the top. So this is called thin trace. I normally pour all my soaps at thin trace. I'm going to thicken this just a touch before I put it into the mold, because it will shorten the time until I can actually start removing it from the mold. So a little more blending. Okay, so this says a lot about feel. I can tell this soap is getting much, much thicker. I'm going to blend it just a short a time more. You can see it's staying on the top of the stick blender. You can see it's coated much longer than it was. So one more blend ought to get us there. All right, so this is thickened to my preference, and a little tip about how to best clean your stick blender is just to go ahead and put it in the cup where you had your lye. Give it a whirl and let it sit and soak, and it will help tremendously. So here's what we have, and I will tell you the smell has improved tremendously. And you can see it's fairly thick. You can see all those beautiful coffee grounds. So let me scoot you over here. Don't get dizzy. And I'm going to pull my mold over. And there's nothing magic about this. I'm going to begin pouring. I do not fill it completely to the top, but I get them pretty full. And I just know from experience that this will make an X amount of ounces of soap. So isn't that pretty? Now you would think, it's brown. Does it make your hands brown? No, not at all. Once you try it, you will always think you need coffee soap. I used to have a coworker many, many years ago that made soap, and she made a coffee soap. This is not her recipe. I haven't seen her in 25 years probably. But anyway, I had purchased from her this coffee soap because I had never had thought of that concept. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful product that I definitely decided I needed to create some. So I got to work and I did. So this soap is not highly moisturizing. It's highly cleansing, but yet it will not dry your hands totally out. Now, the coffee grounds have a tendency to settle, so your last soap that you pour may have more grounds than others. You want to keep track of which one that is. If you think that you are going to gift or sell your soap and you're afraid that that will be too much for someone, I don't find it too much. It doesn't affect the soap at all. In fact, it's a little more exfoliating. So get every drop we can out. So there we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, a dozen bars. So this is about 2 pounds of soap. And I'm going to let this sit up a little bit because it's fairly liquid. And then I do put a whole coffee bean on each soap as a decorative item, certainly not a requirement. So I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then I want to bring you back and just share some final thoughts. So stay tuned. Well, I wanted to pop on here at the end and just share a couple pieces of information with you. I've made a decision that I am not going to be doing the sales type videos for my soap and my sewing products anymore on my channel. At least that's what I've decided for now. So I am working behind the scenes on another way, sort of an online shop for you all to be able to look at, purchase products, ask your questions. The problem that I'm having is sometimes comments or questions or even orders are getting buried down in comments when people are commenting on other comments that have already been made. And if I overlook you, I feel bad, and it's just not an easy way for me to do business. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you were to need anything, you can always email me at sweethoneybath@gmail.com. Please don't put your orders in the comments here. I am so glad you're here. Welcome all new subscribers, but don't put your orders here because it's very difficult sometimes for me to read each and every comment. And if I miss someone, I would just feel awful, and I don't want that to happen to you. So thank you again for your grace this week. I appreciate each and every one of you watching and giving me a little break because I actually did need it. Did a little outside work, getting geared up. Very soon it will be planting time before we know it. Frost-free day for me is not till May 15th, but I'll be doing some seed starting, continue some seed starting indoors. And I also wanted to ask, and if you don't care, please leave me a comment below. I was going to do a video on how I plant my seedlings indoors and maintain them. But then I thought, well, okay, maybe like everybody knows that and it's not a needed or wanted video. So that's why I didn't do it yet. So I'm very interested to hear your feedback. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new to my channel or you found this video by searching for soap or coffee, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, you know, the one down below, and then ring the bell and select all to be notified of all the new videos. So thank you again for joining me today. I am so glad to be back. I did miss you all. So as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and I'll see y'all later this week. Take care.